Now, Black Lives Matter are a hard left, extreme left group with very radical ideas about dismantling Western society, dismantling democracy, defunding the police. They are extremely anti-Western and extremely viciously anti-white. They have, first of all, they gave themselves the name they gave themselves, Black Lives Matter, so that if you disagree with their radical left-wing politics at all, you'll be told you disagree with the notion that Black Lives Matter. This is why these groups give themselves these names: Stand Up to Racism, Unite Against Fascism, Antifa. That's why they give themselves these names, to make it nigh on impossible for anyone to disagree with them. Now, they have made it their mission to make every aspect, every part of life bow down to them publicly. Now, the European Championships are just over, as we know. And throughout, the England team were getting down on their knees at the start of matches to obey the requirements of Black Lives Matter. This is what Black Lives Matter demands people do: get down on their knees. They did it with the police, beyond. Politicians did it. Keir Starmer, down on his knees to Black Lives Matter. The pretense is, and this is again goes back to the reason why they call themselves these names, the pretense is that if you get down on your knees to Black Lives Matter, and what an incredible gesture for them to demand of people, to get down on your knees in front of them. This is not equality. Making people get on their knees in front of you, bow down to you, this is not equality. This is nothing to do with equality. And to be clear again about Black Lives Matter, the whole thing is based upon a lie. It started with a lie that Black people are killed just like that by police in America. Just the Black people are completely unsafe. Police kill them willy-nilly, without thought. Absolutely untrue. It's not true. It's statistically untrue. First of all, more white people are killed by police in America than Black people. Proportion to the size of the population, it is true that more Black people are killed. But here's the thing. For whatever reason, most violent crime in America, including homicide, including murder, is committed by Black men. Black people make up 13% of the US population. If you split that in half, it's 6.5% male, female. So 6.5%. Out of that, you're going to have male children, so you cut that down again for the adult male Black population in the United States. So we're talking probably about 4%, 3 or 4%. 52% of homicides in the United States are committed by Black men. Now, might that go some way to explaining why, proportion to the reputation or to the population size, more Black people are killed by police in America than whites? Overall numbers, more white people are killed, but proportion to the population, more Black people are killed. However, violent crime is hugely disproportionately committed by Black men in America, and that is the reason that more people per capita are killed by police in America. That's the truth. And what Black Lives Matter is standing on, its very foundation, is a lie. And that lie has spread all over the world, where gullible people who won't even bother to go out and find this information and find what they're actually marching for, will go along to Black Lives Matter rallies really thinking that this is about racial injustice. It's not. It's not. The whole thing is a lie. What isn't a lie is that Black Lives Matter have burned, looted, and murdered all over America. They are responsible, along with their comrades in Antifa, and they're often the same people, are responsible for extreme violence, for destruction of property and of livelihoods, and even for killing, for deaths of people throughout America. BLM, burn, loot, murder. That's the truth about Black Lives Matter. What is also true about Black Lives Matter is that they make their intentions quite clear when they burn the Union Jack, when they take down statues of historical figures in this country and cover up and deface the statue of Winston Churchill. That's the truth about Black Lives Matter. That's who they really are. They intend to attack and assault this country, its heritage, and all Western countries, and bring it dragging down. They are doing this under the pretense of racial justice. And those of us who know that object to police and sports people getting down on their knees to this organization. We have now calls to ban people from this, ban people from that. As usual, Labour are talking about stiffer penalties, harsher penalties for people. And we don't even, what's really, really significant about this is that we don't even know what is meant by racist. Anyone can be a racist. All that has to happen is someone call you a racist. Some left-wing thug who engages in violence and intimidation and bullying calls you a racist. That makes you a racist. So be in no doubt. If you object to mass immigration, racist. If you talk about the Islamic faith, for example, and the terrible thing carried out in its name, racist. End result, we're not allowed the criminalization of honest discussion of Islam and the criminalization of any objection to government policy on mass immigration. Be in no doubt that that is the end goal. Well, not even the end goal, the middle goal of all of this. So the Marxist narrative being oppressor and oppressed. Everything is black and white. White, oppressor, black, oppressed. All of this is taking place in a context, in that context. All of this is pushing that narrative. And it is so all-pervasive now that here in Hartlepool, we have a former councillor who, by the way, by all accounts, was a caring councillor who did a lot for the local people here, has been handed a 6-week prison term for an offensive Facebook post, while simultaneously a man is handed a 4-week prison term for a violent assault. That is what you need to know about the current state of justice in this country. But it is all part of the wider political shift, this alarming, and it is alarming, and it's become alarming more so over the last few days since the European final. And the press have gone into absolute overdrive. This is only going to get worse. Racial division, race relations are collapsing because of it. We are being turned against each other. And this will continue. It will get ever more absurd. It will get ever more anti-white. And we do not currently, sitting in the House of Commons, we do not currently have anyone who will stand up to this. Nobody. They're too afraid of the rotten press to stand up to this. This is really, really important. It is really important that people understand what is happening with this alarmist, constant, relentless reporting about racism. What is really happening is a far-left organization which hates this country and its people is demanding obedience to its will by even our most senior politicians and getting it. It has corrupted sport. It has corrupted everyday life. And politicians at all levels, so local councillors, as a result of this prison sentence, local councillors are told, do not put a foot out of line on this, or we will send you to prison. Senior government officials, like the Home Secretary, are being blamed for Instagram posts because she refused to bow down to Black Lives Matter. That's serious. It is very, very serious. And you and us, as a people of this country, are getting the harshest lesson of all. Shut up. Obey. You're not allowed to think freely. You're not allowed to speak freely. This is what we'll do to you. Violent assault, 4 weeks. Offensive Facebook post, 6 weeks. That's the state of British justice. And it's not an accident. It's there for a reason. We are being transformed from a free country to a totalitarian one, at which the British majority are being forced by threats, by intimidation, by prison sentences to bow down to those who hate them and intend to dismantle their country, deface their heroes, and destroy their heritage and their image of themselves. We need people in elected chambers across this country who will stand up to this. We need it, and we need it soon. This is hugely, hugely important. And one final point before I go, have a look at what is going on in South Africa at the moment. The mainstream press is presenting it rather differently than what is actually going on. There is also there major assaults against white people. That's what's happening. And the press is, if you find it at all, you'll find it hidden away somewhere under an Africa headline. And you'll find that it's being reported as being about politics. Partly, for some. But what is being stirred up in South Africa is also extremely dangerous and a sign of things to come for all of us if we don't start speaking up against this tyranny, and we don't start speaking up against this anti-white hatred that is all pervasive all over the world. We've got to stand up to it. I've said before that the language being used about white people now is pre-genocide language, and it is. It is. Have a look at what's happening in South Africa.